Okay, let's run down the major college football awards finalists. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, I want to run down the 9 major college football awards not named the Heisman Trophy because these are the ones for which I really pay a lot of attention. It's the reason why I was so excited to be asked to be on the selection committee for the Jim Thorpe Award and having a hand in helping put together the 3 finalists for my award, Paycom Jim Thorpe Award for the nation's best defensive back. Going to get into a little bit of how that went, talk about those finalists as well as the ones for these other major awards like the Bednarik, like the Nagurski, like the Outland, the Remington, the Maxwell, the Davey O'Brien, and so forth and so on. Ray Guy gets in there as well. Ozzy showing up, and we'll get to that. But I want to encourage you, sign up for my newsletter down in the link below. And if you do, you get an opportunity to win the Hertz lamp. Looks like this. I call it a Hertz lamp because, well, Jalen Hurts plays at Oklahoma, and I've had my jokes about him fumbling the ball, maybe taking that just a little too far. But if I'm not going to have any fun doing this, and you're not going to have any fun watching it, what's the point of college football? It's supposed to be fun. Anyway, let's talk about the major college football awards that will be announced at the College Football Awards Show on ESPN December 12th. That's about 5 days after Conference Championship Saturday and 4 days after I'm giving away the Hertz lamp. So get in there, man. Sign up for this. All right. So to start, let's go with the Chuck Bednarik Award, which is given to the nation's best defensive player. Chase Young, shoo-in for this award. Probably going to sweep a bunch of these awards. We all have him as the best defender in college football this year. He set the all-time sack record at Ohio State over the weekend with 3 against Penn State. A couple of those came against Sean Clifford, who was knocked out of the game. And my man, Chase Young, had 9 tackles, 4 for loss. He was everywhere, all over, doing the Lord's work if you're a Buckeyes fan. And I think this is going to be his award, but it's nice to see Derrick Brown is on this list as well. Great defensive lineman for Auburn. And Isaiah Simmons, linebacker at Clemson, who I was put on game with by my guys at Tracking Football, trackingfootball.com. Give them a shout out. My man, Mark Brandstad, was on this going, hey, Isaiah Simmons is built different. And a guy who could play safety, plays that nickel Sam linebacker spot in Brent Venables' defense, is going to be a first-round pick. Keep your eye on Isaiah Simmons. Watch him against South Carolina if you get to this weekend. And then the Bednarik Award. Jamar Chase, 63 catches, 1,260 yards, 15 tutties on the nation's best offense, especially when we're talking about passing attack. This LSU offense feels like the 2018 Oklahoma offense with a defense that ain't as porous, but it's bad. It ain't very good. I mean, they're 43rd in total defense, and you really have to take a look at what they're doing on third downs. You have to take a look at what they're doing against some of the better, let's say, offensive talents that they have faced, and I'm going to get into that later as Grant Delpit is a Jim Thorpe Award finalist. Also on this list is Michael Pittman Jr. at 95 catches for all the yardage while he was at USC. The only problem with that is USC is 8-4. They didn't have a great season, but they had a good season. They finished stronger than I thought they would finish in a year in which Clay Helton probably needed to win the Pac-12 championship to keep his job. And now with a new athletic director who probably wants to go get his own dude, he might be out the door. Michael Pittman is a dude. Graham Harrell coming in as offense coordinator to help that offense get jump-started, to simplify it, to make it simple, to help those guys just be playmakers in space. With Keaton Slovis as quarterback, you had Michael Pittman go for 95 catches. You've had guys like Tyler Vaughn show up. They're going to be a load next year if they get anything like the offensive production and a bit of the defensive production that they got from this year coming back. And then CeeDee Lamb, 46 catches, 999 yards. CeeDee is going to have to go off in a big way against Oklahoma State, and he's going to have an outstanding championship game in the Big 12 title game to win this award. I think this might end up going to Jamar Chase just because he's the best wide receiver on the best team. And CeeDee just could not get targets from Jalen Hurts. When we're talking about the Texas Christian game, he had to sit out the Baylor game. That hurt him as well because he probably goes over 1,000 yards against Baylor if he gets an opportunity to play in that game. And he's probably that far behind in yardage at least, if not in just touchdowns and catches, because he didn't play the game against Baylor, and Oklahoma ran the ball for 300 plus yards on the ground and only had 145 yards passing through the air against Texas Christian. So right now it feels like Jamar Chase is going to be out in front. The Lou Groza College Place Kicker Award. Man, Rodrigo Blankenship, who did work for me in my fantasy football league. I finished probably 4th. I made it semis, and then I got just trucked. I mean, dude I played against had Jalen Hurts and Jamar Chase on the same team, to say nothing of the rest of his roster, but I got rolled up. But Rodrigo Blankenship, as a senior at Georgia Hot Rod, probably going to be the name you know, and the name you know does a lot when we're talking about these awards. Keith Duncan at Iowa and Blake Mazza at Washington State. Again, best kicker on the best team probably wins this award, and that is right now Rodrigo Blankenship. Ray Guy Award, punter of the year. Dane Roy at Houston, who Oklahoma got to see. Max Duffy at Kentucky, and Sterling Hofrichter at Syracuse. Now, I don't know if Syracuse can pull the double, because they had a guy win the place kicker award last year in Andre Smith. Maybe they'll win the punter of the year award, the Ray Guy Award. I doubt it. I think this is probably going to go to Max Duffy, because Kentucky actually thinks of Max Duffy as a weapon. You got to be pretty bad offensively to think about your punter as a weapon, but if you're going to win an award and you're going to be 6-5 or 7-5 at best, let's let the punter do something. Maybe that is their version of Texas in, it had to be Tom Herman's first year when we were talking about their Texas Bowl MVP is punter Michael Dixon. He was really good enough for Pete Carroll to move up to draft him. So there's that. And then the Maxwell Award, College Player of the Year, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and Chase Young. Joe Burrow feels like he's going to win the Heisman Trophy because the Heisman is a quarterback running back award, and they don't have the, shall we say, wherewithal to give this award to a defensive player, even as Chase Young is probably the best defensive player, and not just the best defensive player, but the best player in college football. According to me, according to you, most of us would take Chase Young before we're going to take a quarterback in this draft, and that says a lot for me. Of course, my man Jalen Hurts has become just the third player in FBS history to pass for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards in 11 games. Only Johnny Manziel and Lamar Jackson had done that before him. Oklahoma, again, has for back-to-back years a 3,000-yard passer and a 1,000-yard rusher. Last year, Kyler Murray won the Heisman Trophy. Also had 4,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing. Just elite. And then Davey O'Brien Award, National Quarterback Award, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts. Justin Fields has been remarkably efficient, and save those 2 times he put the ball on the ground against Penn State, he looked really good, and you just can't account for him. He's just so good at making you wrong, and he understands Ryan Day's offense. He operates it like a complement to the rest of it. Like, that's what you want out of your quarterback. You want a guy that distributes to the playmakers, and yet Justin Fields is a playmaker unto himself. Joe Burrow is turning LSU into the high-octane offense that I wanted to see come to the SEC, and then Bama did it, and now LSU is going to do it. If Kirby Smart ever gets around to doing it, then we really have to start to look at the SEC in a different light. But right now, it's just Alabama and LSU, and LSU is putting up all the yards on everybody, to say nothing of what they did against Florida and what they did against Auburn, getting hold to 23, still put up a ton of yards, though. And then, of course, what they did against Alabama, dropping 46 on them. Over 600 yards. It was an awesome game to watch, and Joe Burrow is elite operating it. He loses to Georgia, then we might have a fight on our hands between him, Justin Fields, and Jalen Hurts. But right now, if going chalk across the board in the final week of the regular season and into conference championship play, feels like Joe Burrow's award. Jim Thorpe Award, my award. Let's get to that. Actually, let's do the Outland Trophy first. Most outstanding interior lineman, that is Tyler Biadays, Wisconsin, Derrick Brown, Auburn, and Penei Sewell, Oregon. Derrick Brown might win that one off of name recognition. I know that from time to time we have an outstanding offensive lineman. I also thought this was going to be a year in which Creed Humphrey might be in the finalist list, but he didn't have the kind of year that we all thought he would be. He did not have the kind of year we all thought he would have. Slow down, RJ. It's okay. You can speak slowly sometimes so that you don't stumble over your words. Creed Humphrey, redshirt sophomore, was responsible for anchoring a brand new crop of 4 starters, and they got to play musical chairs with those guys for some time because, one, they didn't like what they had, and then when they liked what they had some injuries. Adrian Ely's had to fight through some stuff. Eric Swinson had to fight through some stuff, and then you had R.J. Proctor end up replacing him because Eric Swinson just ain't getting it done. Marquise Hayes and Tyrese Robinson have been on this line more often than not, but you've even had to put Bray Walker in there from time to time, and you've had to have Creed Humphrey directing traffic and really carrying this line in a way that he just hasn't had to. He's been the puppy for so long that this was new for him. So I'll be interested to see if he decides to come back or go into the draft next year, depending on what draft grade he gets. The Doak Walker Award, Premier Running Back, Chuba Hubbard, Oklahoma State, Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin, and J.K. Dobbins, Ohio State. This is the strongest group of running backs that I've seen in a very long time. This is Chuba Hubbard's award because he's 168 yards away from rush for 2,000 yards, and he could do that in 12 games. Say nothing of what he could do in the bowl game. But any other year, it feels like J.K. Dobbins would have done enough to win this award. But Jonathan Taylor's had 3 back-to-back 200-yard rushing games, and he's rushed for over 5,856 yards in his career. He has been a dude, and yet Chuba's out there just making people look silly with, quite honestly, the worst offensive line of the 3. J.K. Dobbins should be getting what he's getting because Ohio State's offensive line has just been that good. Wisconsin, this is who they are. They are give the ball to the back and pound on you. That's what they're going to do. So I feel really good about this group. I know that Chuba Hubbard's probably going to run away with this. He's probably going to be first-team All-American, on probably consensus first-team All-American now that I think about it, at running back. But on the one hand, I kind of feel bad for Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins, but they play on really good teams. And Jonathan Taylor's going to be, if not a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick. Same thing with J.K. Dobbins. They're just that good. Now let's talk about my award, Jim Thorpe Award, Paycom Jim Thorpe Award. Best defensive back, Grant Delpit at LSU, Jeffrey Okudah at Ohio State, and J.R. Reed at Georgia. Now, I understand there are folks that look at this and say, hey, man, Delpit did not have the kind of season that others did. And J.R. Reed did not have the kind of statistical season that others did. Even Grant Delpit even missed a few games. Yeah, he also played hurt, but we're not gonna go into that. And Jeff Okudah has just been outstanding at Ohio State to go along with guys like Jordan Fuller in the backfield. And what it comes down to is beyond did you play well, what are your statistics? What's your character? How good a person are you? What do your teammates have to say about you? What do your coaches have to say about you? What do your parents have to say about you? What do you do in your community? Who are you when you don't wear pads? You know, I love the J.R. Reed pick. I got to see him play against Notre Dame. I got to see him have that pick to help seal the win against Notre Dame in Athens. I also see a C on his chest. I also see that the guy's genuflecting his position. I also hear him when he talks to media. He doesn't brush him off. He gives them his authentic self. I also know this guy ended up at Tulsa to start, left Tulsa, walked on at Georgia, and earned his way every step. Just remarkable story there. Grant Delpit doing work in his community. And also the kind of guy that Derrick Stingley Jr. looks up to, who I think is the best defensive back at the freshman level for sure, right? I mean, this freshman All-American. And I almost think sometimes that when you watch them play, Derrick Stingley got more opportunities to make some plays than Grant Delpit did because people knew what Delpit did all last year. I think that this is the reason that we also have finalists as well, right? Because while we put together this group, this group of outstanding young men, each one of our collective agencies that come together to put these finalists in front of you, I know at the Thorpe Award, we send out this to over 300 voters, and they will have their say, and we don't actually have to pick who's going to be the best guy. We let the democratic process take care of that. So I feel good about each one of the guys that is on this list. I feel like each one of these guys is not only going to have an opportunity to play at the next level, but is an outstanding individual. And that's what you want. You want an outstanding individual to win any award. And that is paramount because, you know, the Thorpe family name is on this award, and that is crucial to them. And I think it should be crucial to all of us as we think about what college football is and what we want it to be. You want to look at the Thorpe Award winner and you want to say, nah, that dude's not just a great football player. He's an outstanding man. And I hope that's true for every one of these guys that wins a major college football award. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.